The UDU, a planned development united, installed their neighborhood nodes throughout the entirety of a land. Their reach was unmatched.
Hey, welcome everybody to UDU team meeting number 17. My name's Ben68 and today is the 3rd of August, unless you live in the future like I do, and it's actually the 4th of August. Today we've got More Cheese, Skip 720, Muchita, BWH, I'm not 100% sure who that is, Double Rider, Nubex and Humanism on board. So thanks for jumping in everybody. Bunch of stuff to cover today, so we shall start working through it. First of all, I'm going to try changing the view for this week. That one. BWH is back. Cool. So yeah, Chicago and Cleveland collections. It was funny to see a couple of random collections come up, and I think everybody in the community at this point is just like, yeah, we'll just run with whatever they come up with. No point getting your nose out of joint because it is what it is. I did pretty well in Chicago, not too bad in Cleveland. I got the downtown collection, but not really doing much in Cleveland. How did everybody else go with their vanilla speculations? Any big wins?
I did Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No problem. Very bad. I mean, the collections in Chicago were, I don't know, the collection in Cleveland were okay. I mean, those were decent, but those in Chicago were very mind-boggling. But at least you can always use the second-hand market immediately after the announcement. And I bought a Southport set, which increased in value pretty quickly. So in the end, I did okay. But
I think,
yeah.
Sorry, I think Angela, More Cheese, you did pretty well there too, didn't you? After the announcement, didn't you run around and grab a whole bunch that hadn't been adjusted yet? Yeah,
I did. So, I was able to grab like 3 or 4 collections, which was pretty awesome. And then I made a really big mistake by putting one of them for a really low price. But the guy was so nice. I wish I remember his name to give him a proper shout out. He sold it back to me right away. He was nice about that. So it was a good karma day.
Yeah, I had someone do that for me recently too, when I was going through and just listing a bunch of Oakland, Bakersfield, all those kind of random cities. I was just cleaning house, and I'd accidentally put up some Pacheco Road or whatever it is collection properties, and the player sent me a DM straight away saying, "What the hell are you doing?" He's like, "You saved them all for me." I think I sold them for like whatever the floor was. The floor was 4,000 or something, and I just ended up buying them straight back off him for 10K just to say thank you. So yeah, it does happen. Yeah, and I know More Cheese, you're sticking around in Chicago, and you're continuing to gobble up all of the Logan Squares and stuff. I've started to do that myself.
Yeah, it's still available. What are people waiting for? I can't wait for it to be all gobbled up, actually, because I have a decent amount I want to start selling to get more around More Cheeseville. I keep changing the name, More Cheese Town.
Yeah, there's a bunch of unminted collected properties in a tier 1 city. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Yeah. What would people go, give to go back to Manhattan and buy Harlem properties? That's there's definitely an opportunity there.
Yeah, I have like over 15 now.
Nice. How about you, Bach? How'd you go in Chicago and Cleveland?
Yeah, it was okay. I made one big mistake. Well, big mistake in Cleveland. I actually was able to mint a brewery property, which was an ultra rare, and I sold it for like 3 times mint because it was in Ohio City, and yeah, that was quite a loss. But I scored 5 Cuyahogas, 18 Andersonville, so that's quite cool. But I was actually hoping that Upland would. I don't know why they aren't doing that. Perhaps it's too much work, or they expect the market to crash. But I asked one of the devs that if they could put a list with the streets and the neighborhoods that were actually sold out, because I have my eyes on a certain neighborhood, certain street, and I think that 12 hours before the collection release, or even shorter, maybe 5, a visitor's account did not renew, and the FSA property come back. So I don't know if it's considered sold out or not, but yeah, they didn't react to that question. So I don't know, maybe it's too much work, or they don't want the market to crash. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, especially what you're talking about. It's the special node you're working on, which is very exciting. Can't wait for you to be able to talk about that. But yeah, it's always tricky. And Morchie's was just saying she liked your wall behind you, and you're at your parents' place. You must have some pretty cool parents, mate. What's going on?
Yeah, they're quite cool. Yeah, I was actually giving the plants some water, but now it's raining like hell, so it wasn't even necessary to visit it. But thank God, Morchie's likes the wall, so it has some benefits, right? Visiting the house.
I get distracted very easily.
Yeah.
So I'll have to watch this video again.
I'm out.
Nice.
No, come back.
He's gone.
Oh no.
No, he's just playing with you. Yeah, so we had Chicago and Cleveland collections all get released at once, which was kind of fun. And then at the same time, well, not long after, we had Santa Clara, which was kind of out of the blue and caught a lot of people off guard. I did go through yesterday once Up Squareland or Apex World was back up and running. I just went through, and I don't know how up to date the data is, but I had a look at some of the kind of OG big regular players just to see kind of how deep they went in Santa Clara, and it was very interesting to see that there was a whole bunch of them that got pretty much nothing. So whether they just weren't interested or got caught off guard, I'm not sure, but there was a lot of big money spent in Santa Clara, and it was very interesting to see that what we thought was going to be a slow sellout of the big, massive, high value properties, it seems like it was the opposite. They tended to get gobbled up really fast.
Yeah.
So there's obviously a lot of UPEX around, and there's a really high demand for those, those high yielding properties. Again, I spent some time last night having a look around the map, and just about all the big, massive properties you could find, they're all gone. So that was pretty cool.
I think everyone is changing tactics all the time, and especially now, a lot of bigger players getting a huge amount of diffs each day, and they're like, let's get some more diffs, of course. So yeah, those big props are the real prize. And I went after a few big props, but thanks to the team saying that cents were available while they're not available, I missed out on a lot of good stuff. So I was a bit fuming afterwards in the general Discord for the first time, I guess, that I melted down a bit.
No. Yeah. I was a bit dirty on Cyclonics. Like, I had my plan, which I posted, which was send to Santa Clara and don't disembark from the terminal. So I could disembark just before. And then he'd posted like, no, they've made the neighborhood lines really tight. So you just bounce really close. Like if you leave the neighborhood limits or the city limits. So I went, okay, sweet. So I disembarked, and then I straight away ended up way out in the middle of nowhere. So I was pretty pissed off about that.
Classic.
Because it happens every single time. And, I thought it had been finally addressed. But anyway, I ended up floating just before release into, what is it, North 101 or whatever that top collection is. So I ended up being really lucky. I didn't have to use any sends, and I was right in a spot where there was a whole bunch of little properties and a couple of big ones. So I ended up doing pretty well. And then once that kind of calmed down, then I was able to send to the neighborhood areas and mint those properties. But yeah, I tried for, what is it, Euclid? No, what's the main rare collection there? Yeah,
El
El Camino.
Camino.
I tried for that, but I was just watching it. They were just getting gobbled up, and it didn't even matter the size of the property. Like I was looking ahead because you could see ahead of the pack that was jumping to try and mint it out. There was some huge properties there. Like I think there was some 15 mil ones, all sorts of stuff, and they were just getting slammed straight away.
I
Well,
almost
that's
got
cool.
2 of them. It actually said minted, and then it said this is blocked. I'm like,
Ouch.
no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
do you
sucks.
have like the disco show where it would go from green to gray to blue to green to
Yeah.
gray again? And it's like, do I own the property or not?
Yeah, frustrating, really frustrating.
Oh yeah, Cody and I were on the Upland Discord chat. They opened a chat there, and it was pretty fun. Uplando was there. He was trolling in a fun way. He was like, "Oh, go get the sends," and we're like, "They don't work." He's like, "Hee hee hee."
Oh, I was talking to him. I said, a little bird told me there was a show by the Dingo Rider again. He was just
Oh,
laughing.
he does it so well. He's oh my god, it's so uncanny. But I'm grateful to him because he steered me in the way of the 101 and North 101, and I was able to get a whole bunch of really small properties there and do a pretty decent flip.
Yeah.
So
Very
that was
cool.
cool. Yeah.
Now there is a lot of speculation that the partnership that has been hinted at, and the reason why that Santa Clara came online was some kind of partnership that's on the way. And we did see that there's all those big, massive, ultra rare collections from what is it, NVIDIA?
Mm-mm.
Yep.
Yeah. So what is that like? That's like a computer chip company or something.
Yeah,
It's a
and
graphics card.
Graphics.
yeah, Intel is in the rare ultra rare collection as well, with 2 or 3 buildings. I don't know, but there's also a bit of speculation that it's supposed to be a sports kind of thing.
Yeah, that keeps
There
getting
is
bounced
the 49
around.
threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. It's interesting.
I've been trying to get a freaking NVIDIA 3070. I have a 2070 right now, but I've been on wait list since November.
Oh, you were saying that a couple of weeks ago, weren't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about this? All the ultra rares being locked all the time, or except for the vanilla ones that we had.
I mean, I wouldn't have been able to afford them anyway, so I don't mind.
Yeah, I suppose at least you have a chance. Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I mean, obviously those are the best props in game, and everybody wants them. And I get that it's for a select group of players.
Yeah.
But when the prop is like 10 mil or 50 mil or 20 mil, it gives so much diffs. That's just beyond imaginable. So yeah, of course, you can go at it multiple ways, but in my opinion, they should just reverse auction it or something, but not make it able to mint. I get it, because you will piss off a lot of big players that are not able to mint at that time. So I get it, but at the same time, how much effort you want to put in, that should be rewarded as well. So I'm not sure what I think about it now that I think about it.
Nabex, did you see the drama with Mixplick? Like he won one of those ultra rares, and then when he went to mint it, somebody else had already jumped in and bought it.
Yeah, I also saw that it was talked about it in the UCN channel, and I'm not sure what happened from there, but I know that he's contacted because that's a nasty situation.
The same thing happened to him with I think it was one of the Fresno ultra rares that he won. Same thing happened. Somebody else got in and minted it. That one worked out. That one worked out all right, but it's just crazy that it's happened to the same person twice.
Whoa, that's yeah.
Yeah, I think they might have given him one of the Oakland Library ultra rares or something like that as compensation. So apparently it's been sorted out, but it's kind of weird that still happens. Yeah, Santa Clara, my original goal was to go in there and buy 3 big properties, and that was it. Because I had been, like in the weeks leading up to it, I had been spending a lot of time flipping properties to get a bit of an Apex balance back. because I was trying to get my 5 million outdoor decor shop business budget back up and running. Turns out that outdoor decor hasn't even been started. They haven't even started developing it. So that was kind of disappointing to read that. But after that was said, I thought, well, there's no point holding on to this UPEX doing nothing for a while. So I went a bit deeper into Santa Clara than I was expecting to. And then a little mini node opportunity popped up. More cheese. Do you want to speak to that? Oh, hang on. And before you get going, maybe you don't know, but I secured the last 2 properties this morning, so it's 100% ownership.
Nice. Yes, my namesake. It's Marchese is the proper way to say my name, but I'll accept more cheese. I'm very comfortable with more cheese, but I've never seen that before. I've never seen Marchese Way or Marchese Court, so. I'm sorry, my throat is so dry. I sent a message to Ben right away, and I'm like, "Oh my God, you want to help me get this?" I didn't even want to do a note at the time. I was just like, I just really want to get these Marcheses out of there. And Ben is like, "Oh, evil genius idea," and I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." And it was pretty good, pretty fast, pretty easy. I might try to get a few more around it, maybe grow it a little bit organically as we go, see what happens. But I'm really excited about my big E node.
Yeah, there's a big, massive E. The shape of the properties in there. It's a big E for cheese. So yeah, those properties weren't cheap. They were between 35. I think they were between 30,000 and the high ones were maybe 57. And
Yeah.
I had a quick manual count, but I kept losing count. I think there's about 114 properties. So it's like a mini node. Yeah, so it should be pretty cool. And thanks to everybody that responded to the call out for help and who jumped in and minted a few properties, because I blew through 2 million pretty quick with property value prices like that. So it was very helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
All good. And looking forward to seeing how that goes. And I know Locke too, he made a play somewhere in Santa Clara. I saw him post, like he posted a 3D view, and he's minted out blocks and blocks in one particular area. So might be another mini node there too in the future. We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, I'll go check it out. I must have missed that. I'll go check and see where it is after this.
So yeah, personally, I'm back to flipping mode. I'm basically selling anything that's not a collection or a UDU node, or that I know is an area in development. So I'm all about flipping and doing fresh mints. The Manhattan market at the moment is really hot. Like I spent 200K when I first woke up. I saw that I had some like small Manhattan sales come through, like about 30K range. So that gave me enough to buy the last 2 properties in More Cheese's node. And then I was looking at my balance, and I had like, I think it was 200 UPEX or something. And then I went, I was out the backyard murdering rats, and I came back 5 minutes later, and next minute my balance was over 400K. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? But I had a look, and somebody had started picking up some Tribeca properties. So Manhattan's really hot at the moment. So I'm pretty happy. I'm not married to my properties. Like I've had some people say, aren't you worried about that in future it's going to be worth more? Yeah, of course. But, it's that, it's almost kind of a sunk cost thing. Yeah, I could hold on to it forever, or I could take, especially in Manhattan, you're talking about some of those properties that I got for 3K that are selling for over 30K. Yeah, if I hold on to it for a year, they might be worth 50, but I'm not blowing the money that I'm making. I'm reinvesting it in fresh mints in another tier 1 city. So I'm not too concerned about it. I know More Cheese and I spoke yesterday about treasure hunt maps. I've pretty much given up on treasure hunts just because I used to do treasure hunts like a madman, just because you know, the 5,000 UPEX that I used to make a day, or sometimes you'd make 20, 30,000 UPEX. It used to make a real difference, but at the stage I'm at now with dividends, it's not really necessary. So I'm pretty much flipping out of everything in San Francisco. And I'm not really paying too much attention to the neighborhood. So if you are working on your San Francisco treasure hunt map, keep an eye out on my sales. There's going to be some bargains. Yeah, there's a few familiar names I see popping up in my messages that are buying up bits and pieces here and there. So that's about all. Anybody else working on anything for sale or nothing?
Well, I just have to say that having one treasure map remaining is always a good play, in my opinion, because you never know when the team is going to do a certain challenge, which they always will. So yeah, that's basically why I built my treasure hunt map in Cleveland, which is a low-cost treasure hunt map, as well as that you'll get exclusives there because it's a tier 2. And there will be not that much competition. So that are the things that you can look forward in a treasure hunting map. I mean, San Francisco, Manhattan are so competitive. Brooklyn is even more competitive. It's impossible to get treasures there if you are not quick. So yeah, other than that, I'm selling out of San Fran. Yeah, pretty much myself. I don't have that much props there, but from the 60 I hold there, I will sell probably 40 in the next 4 to 6 weeks, I guess.
I'm hoping more of you big guys sell out of there so it's not so competitive, because that's where I have my treasure map place. And that's how I got a great amount of spark when that event was going on. I was just doing treasure hunting for days, like nonstop. I think I got about, must have been 30 spark, 0.30. I always do that. Ben always corrects me. I must have got 0.30 spark at least from that. So Nubex is right with having at least one treasure map. And don't make it San Francisco, because that's mine.
Yeah, well, I'm just flipping out of everywhere and minting in Chicago, so I guess that'll be my new treasure hunt map. So I think there's only probably 2 or maybe 3 neighborhoods where I don't have any properties at all. So yeah, so flip and reinvest. That's my current strategy. What have we got next? To talk about, the current spark train. We have, so that's round number 2. We have 6 properties have been completed. 1 just finished prior, and 6 down, 11 to go. There are a few people within the server that haven't registered with the bot. We'll go through and tag you, and it's a pretty simple process, and that just ensures that you get it used to be a DM, but now you just get flagged in the server to say that the build's finished and away you go. Did anybody want to speak to the current spark train situation?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It seems like we have completed already 6 of the buildings, and we have after that a few completed.
There's a few small townhouses too, isn't there? So we'll burn through those pretty quick.
Yeah. So yeah, I say we're just about a little more than halfway through.
Yeah.
Because it's more so the completed properties than the filled up, and we have a good amount of that. So yeah, round 3 almost here. Can't
and
wait.
round 3 is pretty much going to be a repeat of round 2. It's going to be limited tickets. You're going to have to keep an eye out and jump in when you can.
Yeah, we have our plans for round 4, and it's gonna change a bit. We're gonna send the first 3 rounds were pretty much us giving our gratitude for everybody who kind of helped us out to build our properties, and I think we did a great job so far. We're still not done, and we're donating every last bit of our spark towards people getting their stuff made. And round 4, you know, we're gonna start doing our stuff again. So we're working on some ideas. We brought Bakio in to, you know, work with us on that. And oh my God, congratulations, Bakio is now a mod with us. So we haven't
Yeah, thank you.
we haven't announced that. So congrats for that. Yeah, so we're like, without giving too much away, because I just don't want people to kind of like think about too far in the future when we still have one round to go. But we're working on something that's a 2-round system. And basically it's determined on how much spark you have to contribute towards the train. And
Two-tier
you know,
system.
two-tier system. And yeah, like I don't know if you want to get into it more, Ben. If you do, then I'll give the floor to you.
Well, yeah, it's just pretty much reiterating that the round 3 train will be a single train, and just as per normal, we'll get that done and dusted. And then yeah, the gloves are off after that, and round 4, it's looking likely that we will have at least 2 trains running simultaneously. We did talk about 3, but I just feel that if we go to 3 trains, the gap between the trains is going to be too great. Like the tier 1 train, obviously that's most of the people that have a lot of spark. I think by the time we got to a 3rd tier, the spark would be thinned out too much, and that train would take too long to complete. There is ways around it, of course, like making sure that the that the minimum staking amount is a certain level, and it could also be a case where that tier 3 train might only be a small townhouse train. And at the end of the day, it just depends on the engagement. If we have a whole bunch of people saying, hey, I missed out on the tier 2 train and I still want to get involved, well, there may be some room to play with different things there. It's all still a bit up in the air. If you have ideas, like Bok put a really good proposal together. If you have some ideas, yeah, let those be known. Like I said, nothing's set in stone for the round 4 and moving forward. We're willing to have a go at just about anything, but just keep in mind it has to be logistically manageable. Like, we have been helped out tremendously by Hire's bot, that it does a lot of the heavy lifting, but there is still a hell of a lot of work involved in setting that bot feed up. I know that More Cheese and Finsky, and I don't know if anybody else helped, but all of those addresses need to be patched in manually for the bot at the get-go, and it takes quite a bit of time.
The old ones have to be taken out.
Yeah.
The build list has to be created. We have to go with the math and see about, and then it also, like, it's not fully on its own. Like, I have to really message people and be like, hey, reminder, put your spark in.
Yeah, and you're always overseeing it as well. It's not like we just you handed it over to the bot and it is what it is. So, and maybe
Well,
a case. Sorry,
I'm going to be handing it over to the Bach.
Yeah. So it's likely a case where if we have a 2-tiered train, if we have 2 trains, like More Cheese will be the conductor for the first train, and if we have a tier 2 train, we'll probably nominate Bok or somebody to take on that role, to learn the ropes.
Yeah, we'll give it to Bach. Bach is like so active and just like helpful and whatnot. I just kind of feel like this is something he would really excel in.
Okay, yeah, I will do that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, it's still all the work in progress. We'll see how we go. And then, of course, if we find out that the Rain 4, if it didn't work, we'll continue to tweak and that sort of thing. We're just not going to get too ahead of ourselves again. Baby steps, play it by ear. Get to the end of the round, have a period of reflection and discussion, and then kick ahead for round 4. Well, obviously that'll be towards the end of the round because we want to get straight off the one train and straight onto the next. Now I know Morchis, you did talk about for this round 4 build that maybe we might look at doing an apartment round.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have my first apartment. And I think if we have the 2 rounds and we have pretty much the people who are able to contribute, I would say at least 3 spark, we can get those like put out ASAP in no time. And it would be nice for everybody, you know, who's kind of been a big contributor to everybody these past 3 rounds to get something like that done, just for you know, putting in the extra effort of getting other people's stuff built, because like there's a few people that have been putting in anywhere from 3 to 6 spark just towards the train and like not building anything. So I think a higher tier thing would be a great kind of like thank you to them as well for helping us out.
We might put some feelers out in the server and just get a rough idea of who might be interested in that. And once we get a kind of loose idea of the numbers, well, we can run some models on like the minimum staking amount and see how long it would take. Now, obviously, if we want to do an apartment run, we don't want that going for, you know, more than a month. So we'll run some models. Luchita did have something to say in chat. What was that? I tried to organize a Brazilian Spark script to help small player. Really hard to coordinate these things. Yeah, it's really is hard. And I think that's where the benefit of, you know, a system like UDU has. That's where it really comes into its own. I mean, that's what we're all about. Upland Development United. It's working together to develop. We know there's a lot of other big co-ops that are still running this. You know, we pay you to use your Spark system, and I don't know. I can't imagine having to deal with all of that logistical side of payments and stuff on top of just managing the build list and all that. It's just seemed like an extra headache. So, you know, I'm pretty happy with the system we've got. You know, it hasn't been perfect from the get-go, but it's definitely every kind of step that we take, it just seems to be getting more refined, you know, more streamlined and that sort of thing. So, and of course, there was people that missed out on that round 2 train who were, you know, they were a bit upset about, but, you know, keep an eye out for round 3. And like I said, once round 3 is done and dusted and we've fulfilled all our payback commitments, then, yeah, gloves are off for round 4 and 5 and 6 and God knows how many. So that's about it for that. Oh, speaking of the Spark train and all of that sort of thing and paying back from the earlier rounds, we did have our special NFTs come through from Morchis. Morchis, did you want to speak to that and looking ahead for what might be on board for future trains and that sort of thing?
Sure. Well, first of all, there's still a lot of people that didn't fill out the form. I've been trying to chase a lot of people down. It's a really cool NFT. I'll put more in the Discord for it. If you know anybody that's on the list, give them the form. Yeah, I'm definitely working on a lot of stuff right now. I'm working on well, something that Ben and I will talk about a little later in the meeting, not to get ahead of ourselves, as Ben would say. And I also want to work on the official UDU kind of ownership NFT, which I have something, but I just feel like I just want to really make it nice. So I'm still kind of just working on it. Eventually I'll have something that I can say, okay, this is good enough. But that should be out by next meeting, no later. I'll say that right now, like, you know, that's going to be my promise. And yeah, I'm going to start working on the round 2 NFTs and see what I could come out with, see if I can make it even cooler. So if you guys want to, like, anybody who's not on a train who wants to get in and donate, you get a special More Cheese NFT, and it's pretty sweet.
I might just show that now, actually. I just pulled that up. Yeah. Oh. So let me see if I can find it. And I did see that you sent me through the number 68. Thank you for that. Here it is. Here.
You're welcome.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. And what did you say? It was set up to represent like a pulsing heart.
Yeah, like a heart, like a thank you from our heart.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's that there. And yeah, there's definitely more on the way. So yeah, make sure you get your WAM address in, otherwise you're going to miss out. And speaking of other projects that we're working on, when did I reach out with that idea? It was only, what was it, Thursday or something last week?
Yeah, it was fairly soon. Oh gosh, dates.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I don't even remember what it was that triggered it. I just had this idea. I think it might have been I was complaining about something in one of the general channels, and I was thinking to myself, I have improved a lot, but my God, I still whine a lot. And then I thought, wine, and then yeah, it might have been I went to DMs and I saw you, and I thought, hang a minute, wine and cheese. That's a kind of a cool little thing there. So I hit more cheese up about getting up and running with an interview series, and I'll bring that up again, which you've probably already seen, but there it is there. So Upland Development United presents the Wine and Cheese in the Metaverses show. So this will be a Metaverse and NFT discussion and interview series, kind of tag teamed between myself and More Cheese. I like the idea. Sorry,
if you like wine and you like awkward, you'll like us.
Yes, it shall be interesting. I like how open-ended this is. It's kind of almost an extension on the Who is UDU kind of idea, but taking it way broader. Like basically we could have a chat to anybody associated with anything. So
yeah,
looking forward to it. And we've kind of, More Cheese has been working to set up our first guest, which is going to be Mighty Lil, and she's a UDUA member, I believe, and she's a really cool NFT artist. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, I know. When was that? Was that before the Cleveland release or something? Well, I remember I reached out to you, More Cheese, and I was like, have a look at this. Have a look at these NFTs. We were waiting for something.
It was we were waiting for the Green Rabbit release.
That's right. Yeah, well, I was up at motherfucker AM waiting for the Green Rabbit release. And yeah, I was just clicking around, and yeah, we were
buying up some of her stuff, and I saw a 68, and I know I don't know if I should say that.
Yeah, it's I don't think it's a secret. I think I've got like 300 mint number 68 NFTs, and I just buy them up non-stop all the time.
So if you see a cool 68 out there and you're thinking of Ben, maybe send him a gift.
I will accept freebies. Yes, that is true. Yeah, so we're still working on this concept. I know More Cheese is busy working on the artwork for logos and things like that. And what I am, of course, really excited about is I reached out to the Nasty Hooks, and they're going to come on board again to put another theme song together for us. So
that's going to be cool.
Yeah, based on that's going to be very different to the UDU theme song. Yeah, it's I don't know. Should I give too much away, or should I just leave it at that?
Leave it at that. Let them drool a little.
Okay. Well, if you're in the Nasty Hook server, you can scroll through and you'll find a bit of a preview. So looking forward to that. So we're hoping, probably, I would imagine, by the end of the month we would have had our first episode up and running. Hopefully that gives us plenty of time, and it's probably going to be we'd like to make it a weekly thing, but we'll just see. We're not going to put too much pressure on ourselves, and we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
And speaking of the Who is UDU, yeah, I really want to get back into that. I know Tommy spoke about running a few himself, but I haven't seen much action on that. So I'm definitely going to start being a bit more proactive with getting that back up and running. So keep your eyes out if I nominate you. And let me get rid of that. What else have we got? Here's an important thing. We know that with this stuff that Upland's going on with this 20 cities in the rest of the year or whatever they got going on, that the biggest factor in all of that is staying liquid, which I'm horrible at doing. And it really is, I think, one of the hardest aspects of the game is staying liquid and being available to, take advantage of these new city releases, especially when you're talking about these rare collections. There's a lot of dividends to be made there in minting rare collections, not so much if you're buying on the secondary market, but that requires you to have a decent UPEX balance at all times. So did anybody have any tips or tricks or ways that helps them stay liquid?
Never buy off the second market. I barely do that.
Yeah, it's tricky. One way that I have found is, which I haven't used a lot, but is to, if you have a partner or a friend in the game that you trust, is to send them an offer. So say, for instance, I had a 1 million UPEX balance and I thought to myself, well, I just want to put that aside so I don't spend it. Well, I just find first of all, you'd reach out to the person and say, hey, are you okay with me doing this? And like, for instance, I might offer 1 million UPEX on one of More Cheese's burner property somewhere. That kind of hides that million UPEX in escrow pretty much. So it's still there. You can still cancel the offer and you get that back straight away. There are risks there, of course. More Cheese could go out and get hit by a bus on one of our daily adventures. So, it's
I don't leave the house. I don't leave the house, so you're safe.
Or you
unless the bus comes in.
You might fall down a mine shaft or something. You never know. So,
a sinkhole.
Yeah. So that there are, like anything, there are risks associated with it, but it is something that I might look into doing myself because, I'm just hopeless. I really am hopeless.
Yeah, but if that happens, you could just rescind the offer.
I could just cancel the offer. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're good. You're good. I could die and you'll be fine.
Or you could just click accept and say thanks for that. See you later, dickhead.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. You know me. Well, nobody really knows anybody. So.
That's right. So it comes down to making sure you know the person. It's not something you would enter into lightly. But other than that, until we get banks and that sort of thing, there are a few people that use these. I think Tommy's used them. Somebody else has said that they've used them where it's almost a mortgage on your property for 5% fee or something like that. I don't play. Oh, you have? What was your experience there?
I'm good. I still haven't paid it back and they aren't putting interest. So I'm pretty happy about that because I have like 50,000 I owe that I haven't been able to get back. It's actually 3 Damon Avenues I pawned before they were collections. So I do want to buy them back.
Yeah.
Oh, Cody.
Yeah.
Well,
my concern with that is if I crack the seal and start doing that, it's just going to be, for me, it's going to just be a rabbit hole. So I'm just avoiding that situation entirely. But yeah, I do know a bunch of people have used it and been successful with it, especially like yourself, Cody, like to do that with what turned out to be a collection property. That's, you've used that money and spent it elsewhere, but you've still got those collection properties there waiting to get back. So that's cool.
Which server did you use then?
Oh, I do with Avenue Banking, one run by Cafe Mogador.
Yeah,
that's the only guy I can really trust because he's been with me since the beginning, so I know him well enough. So I'm like, okay, why not?
Yeah, that's a strong name in the game, and I know Octavius is running one as well right now. I'm in his server, but I'm not 100% sure just yet.
I feel that. I'm also in a server. Like, I don't know Octavius well enough, like on a personal level. Like, I've played like Cards Against Humanity with Cafe. I've like talked to him one-on-one. I haven't done that with Octavius. I don't have that trust yet, and that's
Yeah.
what the thing is for me.
Yeah, he's reached out to me a few times with different deals. I'm not really interested in that sort of stuff, but he has worked really hard to establish himself as a big player in the game. And yeah, I don't think he's in a position where he's not going to jeopardize what he's built, I wouldn't imagine. Yeah, the direction he's heading, he's doing really well. So congrats to him for building something up from scratch. So good on him.
I have one question for.
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Bob.
I have one question for the other members, because back in the days there was a big, gap between the city releases time-wise. So my advice to everyone would be, if there is a new city, go all in, because you will earn your money back. I'm curious how you guys are doing that right now, because I think I will let go of that principle, but I'm really bad at it. I don't know how you guys are, people are dealing with that.
Yeah, it used to be a case of when a new city was released, it would take months, or in the case of San Francisco, over a year to mint out. Or Manhattan was several months. Fresno was, a bit shorter, and then it got a bit shorter, and then it was like 30, 40 minutes or an hour. Now the cities are getting bigger and they're becoming more often. So yeah, you're right. That mentality has to change. And that's part of the thing that I'm struggling with. Like we saw that with Santa Clara. I wanted to maintain an UpX balance, but then there's all these carrots that I chased, and I was literally down to 34 UpX or something crazy. Yeah, it's going to be tricky, and I'm expecting with, Upland's been pretty upfront with saying that there are a whole bunch of cities coming. So with the way businesses work, they want their books to look really good at the end of the month. So I'm expecting to see a new city, if not towards the end of every month, then every other month. And then at the end of the month that didn't have a new city release, well, we're going to see like these new minting challenges and all this sort of stuff. So there's going to be no end of opportunities to spend your UpX. So yeah, you're right. It's about managing that balance so that you can take advantage of opportunities when they come on board. I think the biggest opportunity is definitely holding a balance to mint those rare collections if you get the chance in new cities. That's where the big money lies. Like I had offers recently on my financial district set in San Francisco. I've had offers on some of my Dumbo properties in Brooklyn, and they're all rare collections. There's no way I'm selling those properties at the moment just because of the dividends they provide. The short-term gain that I would get in the UpX it's not worth the loss of the dividends, so yeah, it's all a bit tricky to manage.
Yeah, maybe I think I will try to change my tactics into just target investment. So, I have this plan in my head, like you're only going to mint the wares or the exclusive. If you miss out, no problem. Hold those UpX, wait for a month until the next city, and try to mint at least exclusive, and you can balance that with your UpX. So if you have less UpX than mint limited, maybe that's the way how to do it. But I'm not really sure.
Yeah, that's kind of the approach I've taken personally as well, and that goes with all this selling that I'm doing at the moment. I'm selling everything that's not a collection or a node property. And on the flip side, when I go into a new city release, I'm not buying anything that's not a collection or a node property. At least that's the plan. Yeah, we'll just see how it pans out, because, as we've seen with so many city releases, as soon as the green flag drops, all the plans go straight out the window. So that's definitely one of the hardest things to manage. Morchis, did you want to speak to the Upland meme challenge that's on and voting and that sort of thing?
There's a challenge.
Yeah, you're in it, and I don't know much about it. It's that.
Oh, you said meme.
Yeah.
Mimi. Oh, I think you said minting.
Oh, I call it a meme. I don't call it
Meme.
Mimi. I call it memes.
Mimi. Yeah, they spelled my name wrong. Wow.
I think that was just a case of your name's too long, wasn't it? They just squished
No,
it in.
no, because there's
No?
names on there that are like 13 long. My name is
Oh,
10
really?
long.
Okay.
Mine was the only one they did that to. And they capitalized C. Like I sent the link out to my friends and we're like, look at my because you can't really send individual ones. You have to send the whole thing and then they have to scroll down. And my friends are very lazy and they're like, I don't see you. And I'm like, I'm there. Like they just like abbreviated my name in a really weird, stupid way. But whatever. I'm not angry.
No. So I know that there's a whole bunch of UDU folks in the mix, aren't there? Isn't there?
Yeah. There's a Blando, Musita, Swiss Power, Nubex. Oh my God, I don't want to forget anybody. Hold on, let me go.
Cyclonics is there.
Cyclonics.
Who's there in as well? There's a lot of players.
I gave a little. Okay, Nub, Cyclonic, Swiss, Blando, and Musita.
And that's voting on Twitter only, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't have a Twitter account, get one sorted out and get to voting.
And look for more chi.
Yeah. Yeah. And it looks like I think Machida said that he's up against you next. So there's going to be a bit of UDU versus UDU action happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll always still like, vote for everybody in the UDU thing. It's all good fun.
Cool.
And the UDUA. UDUA.
Just a few more things to cover. Darby, you still there?
Yep, I'm here, buddy.
Did you want to just give us a rundown on what's been happening with all things Green Rabbit?
Yeah, I can give a little bit of a summary. So I wasn't about the meeting last week because that's when the old staking went live. So all the flash drive staking's live. People can now earn their shell. So there's lots of happy people out there. Along with that going live, and Venom also announced the fan club, which have got several different tiers, and it's basically rewarding people for holding their shell rather than just spunking it all on the market straight away, which is really good because it's helping give Selenium a little bit more stability than it otherwise might have had. So most people seem really happy with that. The roadmap has been pushed back a couple of weeks. The green print crafting is going to be a couple of weeks later, but the devs announced that a week or so ago. They did it as early as possible. I think it's going to be really good in the long run. They're going to make a lot of really good additions to the crafting process, and I think it just fine-tuning it a bit, which is all great. Aside from that, things are just moving from strength to strength, really. More people jumping in, enjoying getting the NFTs. Lots of people I haven't even heard about Wax are jumping in now. So that's quite a good shout. We've also had an announcement. We're getting an in-game marketplace. So that's going to be all run through the website, so people won't have to go on Atomic Hub too much. And he's also mentioned something to do with some flash drive sharing, but no more official details on that. But it's looking like some people that got spare drives might be able to get some kind of small income from being able to use them.
Yeah,
and again,
that looks very interesting. I wasn't 100% sure. So that system seems like it's only if you have a spare unused drive. Like I ended up selling all of my spare drives. I have one legendary drive that's not even half full. But by the sounds of it, I won't be able to rent out space within that drive because it's being used. Is that correct? Do you know?
I can't say yes or no, but I would assume so. Yeah, we haven't got many details actually confirmed yet. But my understanding is if you've got spare drives that are free, you're going to be able to put them into like a community. They've called it the hacked shell OS. So it is. I think it's really great how every little change they make, they're trying to bring the law into play as well and give everything kind of a reason to be happening in the game world as well. So yeah, using that Hack Shell OS, people can be able to get a little bit more of a shell drip, hopefully, which is just wicked.
Nice.
You and I were purchasing the really low priced common flash drives on a whim last night. We kind of
Nice.
brought the price up a good $12. They were going for $40, 40
Oh,
wax,
wow.
and now they're up to like 56.50.
Yeah, but I think all the drives went up in price after that little announcement.
Yeah.
And we don't even have any proper details yet, but just that little bit of a sniff at some news, and the horde has gone wild.
Yeah, exactly.
And we got to talk about that cartwheel. Like we can't just blow past that.
Well, you got to give the man some respect, haven't you? He definitely stayed true to his word. I'm just glad he was facing away from the camera in those little tighty green things.
Yes. Well, it gets me off the hook when, like, I pledged to do a full nude one with Up Squared Land was going to go, and I guess him doing it gets me off the hook because everyone will just say that I copied him. So I reached out to him in DM and said thanks for doing that, so I don't have to do mine.
He took the flak.
I think he's still going to hold me to it though, but we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, you said it first, so I don't know if that's getting you off the hook.
We'll see. Well, Up Squared Land has to go live first, and I guess we can speak to that too. We did see some more tinfoil hats come out again in force. Up Squared Land was down, which Up Squared Land is not Up Squared Land. It's what you see is like a reskinning of Upex World, the old Upex World. People are saying that, of course, Upex World is down because there's a new mint challenge. So in Venom and the UDU, they're all taking advantage of it and laughing while nobody can use any data management tools. It's just a whole load of nonsense from start to finish. First and foremost is that the UDU had nothing to do with that purchase. That was in Venom. Second of all, Hacker was leaving Upland and Upex World was going to be defunct. And Venom saved it. So anything that we have as far as that sort of thing, there's a massive deal of gratitude owed to in Venom. Like, I've got no idea what he paid for that site, but I bet you it wasn't cheap. And, people need to keep in mind too that from what I understand, the purchase of Upex World was just one tiny part of the puzzle in the development of Up Squared Land. Now, we've seen in Venom in some of our earlier team meetings, first of all, talking about the development of Up Squared Land and all of the property management tools that were going to come on board. And then, we spoke to his main developer guy, and then he shared screenshots of it. Like, again, I can't imagine what he spent setting all this up. And there was a promise there from Upland that that site would have direct access to the API. That, for whatever reason, that seems to have been delayed, and that's got nothing to do with Venom or Up Squared Land or Upex World. It's just is what it is. I'm sure whatever frustrations there are in the community about it is probably tenfold within Venom himself, but he's a very smart, savvy businessman. I'm sure he's doing whatever he can to smooth that process out. But yeah, to suggest that UDU or in Venom or something is pulling down the Upex World site nefariously, it's beyond laughable, and it's just kind of rude at this point. It's just totally disrespectful to Venom himself and what he set out and what he did for the community. So yeah, I was pissed off to see that kick off again. It's just stupid. And the worst part was it was from people who know better. It wasn't being said from people who were new to the community, which I would kind of understand. This was from well-established players who know that what they're saying is just a complete load of bullshit. So that was really disappointing to see. Does anybody have something positive to wrap up on? Be ashamed to wrap up on me doing some more whining?
Well, let me just say that I fully agree with you, and that the team is very slow. like they are most of the time. I mean, they're loaded with work, so I can imagine that it's not on the top of their list, but right now it should be on top of the list. And also, if you look at the challenge and who finished on top there, I believe none of us were in the top 10. None of the UDU members. I think I finished like the highest with 20 because I wanted some Spark. I'm a sucker for Spark. So I minted the shit out of Chicago in the last minute. But other than that, yeah, and Venom is awesome, and I mean, we owe it to him that UP2, UP2 land is still live, UPX World, however you want to call it. And I think the amount of FUD is, yeah, just so bad. But on a positive note, I mean, more and more money is getting into Upland every day. We're here early. We're gonna make some good money, and we have fun doing it. So let's do this.
Sounds good. I think that's a perfect way to wrap up. Thanks everybody, and we shall catch up with you through the week and in the team meeting next week.